Have you ever noticed how easily you agree with information that already aligns with your beliefs? And conversely, how quickly you dismiss anything that challenges them? It's not a coincidence. It's a fundamental aspect of how our brains work. In 1960, a psychologist at Stanford University, Peter Wason, conducted a series of experiments that would forever change our understanding of human reasoning. He called it the 2-4-6 task. Participants were told that the experimenter had a rule in mind that applied to sets of 3 numbers. The sequence 2, 4, 6 fit the rule. The participants' task was to figure out the rule by generating their own sets of 3 numbers. After each guess, the experimenter would tell them whether their sequence conformed to the rule or not. Sounds simple, right? But here's the catch. Most participants quickly formed a hypothesis, usually something like numbers increasing by 2. Then they only tested sequences that confirmed their hypothesis, like 8, 10, 12, or 20, 22, 24. They rarely, if ever, tried sequences that could disprove their initial idea, such as 1, 2, 3, or 10, 9, 8. Because of this, they often failed to discover the actual rule, which was simply any ascending sequence of numbers. Wason's experiment unveiled a powerful cognitive bias, confirmation bias. It's the tendency to search for, interpret, favor, and recall information in a way that confirms or supports one's prior beliefs or values. It's like having a built-in filter that only lets in information we already agree with. We're all susceptible to it, to varying degrees. It's not a sign of low intelligence or weakness, it's simply part of being human. Think about it. How many times have you scrolled through your social media feed, quickly liking posts that support your political views and ignoring or even getting annoyed by those that don't? Or when researching a topic, have you found yourself gravitating towards articles and sources that reinforce what you already believe, while dismissing those that present a different perspective? That, in a nutshell, is confirmation bias in action. But why do our brains work this way? Well, there are several psychological mechanisms at play. One is the concept of cognitive dissonance. This is the mental discomfort we experience when holding conflicting beliefs, or when our behavior contradicts our beliefs. It's an unpleasant feeling, and our brains are wired to avoid it. So, we unconsciously seek out information that confirms our existing beliefs, reducing the dissonance and making us feel more comfortable. Another factor is our inherent desire to be right. It feels good to be validated, to have our beliefs confirmed by others. This desire for validation can lead us to selectively attend to information that supports our views, while ignoring or downplaying information that contradicts them. It's a form of intellectual comfort food. We crave the reassurance that we're on the right track, that our worldview is accurate. And then there's the way our memory works. We tend to remember information that aligns with our beliefs more easily than information that contradicts them. This is known as selective recall. Think of it like this. Your brain is a filing cabinet, and it's much easier to find files that are already organized in a way that makes sense to you. Information that challenges your beliefs is like a misplaced file. It's harder to find and retrieve. The consequences of confirmation bias can be far-reaching, affecting everything from our personal relationships to our political views and even our financial decisions. In our personal lives, it can lead to misunderstandings and conflicts. Imagine a couple arguing about household chores. If one partner already believes the other is lazy, they're more likely to notice and remember instances where the other person didn't help out while overlooking the times they did. This can create a vicious cycle of resentment and negativity. In the political realm, confirmation bias fuels polarization. People tend to consume news and information from sources that align with their political ideology, reinforcing their existing beliefs and making them less open to alternative perspectives. This can lead to echo chambers, where individuals are only exposed to information that confirms their views, making it harder to find common ground and engage in constructive dialogue. Even in the world of finance, confirmation bias can be detrimental. Investors might make poor decisions by only seeking out information that supports their investment choices, ignoring warning signs or potential risks. This can lead to significant financial losses. Social media platforms, with their sophisticated algorithms, have significantly amplified the effects of confirmation bias. These algorithms are designed to show you content that you're likely to engage with based on your past behavior, your likes, shares, comments, and search history. This creates what's known as a filter bubble, or echo chamber, where you're primarily exposed to information and opinions that reinforce your existing beliefs. Think about your own online experience. Are you mostly seeing content that you agree with? Are you rarely challenged by opposing viewpoints? If so, you might be living in a filter bubble, and it's important to be aware of the potential consequences. This constant reinforcement of our beliefs can make us more entrenched in our views, less tolerant of opposing perspectives, and more susceptible to misinformation. So, how did this bias come to be? From an evolutionary perspective, confirmation bias might have served a purpose. In ancient times, when humans lived in small, close-knit groups, adhering to the group's beliefs and values was crucial for survival. Dissenting opinions could be dangerous, leading to ostracism or even death. So there might have been a selective pressure favoring individuals who readily accepted the prevailing wisdom of their group. However, in today's complex and interconnected world, confirmation bias is often more of a hindrance than a help. It can prevent us from seeing the full picture, making informed decisions, and engaging in productive dialogue with those who hold different views. It can lead to closed-mindedness, intolerance, and even conflict. But the good news is that we're not powerless against confirmation bias. We can learn to recognize it in ourselves and take steps to mitigate its effects. The first step is simply awareness. Understanding that confirmation bias exists and that we're all susceptible to it is crucial. Next, we need to actively seek out diverse perspectives. This means making a conscious effort to expose ourselves to information and opinions that challenge our beliefs. Read articles from different news sources, follow people on social media who have different viewpoints, and engage in conversations with people who don't share your opinions. It's also important to question our own assumptions. Ask yourself why you believe what you believe. What evidence supports your views? Are there any alternative explanations? Be willing to consider the possibility that you might be wrong. This is not always easy, but it's essential for intellectual honesty and growth. Another helpful technique is to practice intellectual humility. This means acknowledging the limits of your own knowledge and understanding, and being open to learning from others. It's about recognizing that you don't have all the answers, and that other people might have valuable insights to offer, even if you don't agree with them. When evaluating information, pay attention to the source. Is it a reputable source? Does it have a known bias? Be wary of information that seems too good to be true, or that perfectly aligns with your existing beliefs. Remember, confirmation bias can make us more susceptible to misinformation and propaganda. And finally, cultivate a growth mindset. This is the belief that your intelligence and abilities are not fixed, but can be developed through effort and learning. People with a growth mindset are more open to new ideas and perspectives, and they're more willing to admit when they're wrong. They see mistakes as opportunities for learning and growth rather than as failures. Overcoming confirmation bias is a lifelong journey, not a destination. It requires constant vigilance and a willingness to challenge our own thinking. But the rewards are well worth the effort. By becoming more aware of our biases and taking steps to mitigate them, we can become more open-minded, more informed, and more effective decision-makers. We can build stronger relationships, engage in more productive dialogue, and contribute to a more tolerant and understanding world. It's about striving for a more nuanced and accurate understanding of the world around us, even when it's uncomfortable. It's about embracing the complexity of truth, rather than seeking the simplicity of confirmation. The pursuit of truth is a continuous process of questioning, learning, and revising our beliefs in light of new evidence. It's a journey that requires humility, curiosity, and a willingness to step outside our comfort zones.